Hi friends, it's Gwen. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here with a good old-fashioned book haul. These are all of the books that I have either bought or received since Christmas, and there's quite a stack. It's trying to fall over, but I'm going to do my best to hold it up as we go through this stack in no particular order. So the very top of the stack is The Fortunate Ones by Ed Tarkington, and this is a dark academia novel. I picked this up secondhand. A compulsively readable novel about the privileges of wealth and the price of doing the right thing. So later on this year on my podcast Talk Bookish to Me, I will be doing a dark academia or just an academia book recommendation. So I want to read a few more this year, so I have even more recommendations. I haven't heard anybody talking about this one, but it sounds like it's going to be really good, and I actually like the colors of this sky, so the cover is pulling me in as well. I have Seat of Tranquility by Emily St. John Mandel. I've only read Station 11 by this author. I wasn't a super fan, but I have a reading vlog planned for this coming up in February, and this is a sci-fi novel. It takes place over several different years, vastly different years, like 1912 and then like 2040 or something like that, and it seems like it's going to be fairly short as well, but I'm very interested. Something about the moon, something about travel. Yeah. Art, Time, Love, and the Plague that takes the reader from Vancouver Island in 1912 to a dark colony on the moon nearly 500 years later. Very interesting. So, and it's like a short little book. I don't know if you can tell the size difference, but super cute. So looking forward to that. I picked 2 books for my book of the month box in January. My main pick was What Lies in the Woods by Kate Alice Marshall. Don't think I've read anything by this author before, but it was the thriller pick and it sounds really good. It's about a group of girls that are friends. They play in the woods. They were 11. There was a killer that they sent to prison, and now you're finding out things many years later. My friend Jessie from Reading with Jess has read this one and rated it 5 stars, so I'm very intrigued. And then I also added on Lunar Love by Lauren Kung Jessen. And this is a romance book, but it's about this woman named Olivia who takes over her grandmother's matchmaking business. And I've read one other book like that where someone takes over someone else's matchmaking business, and I really liked that book, so I'm really hoping to like this one too. And there's the traditional Chinese zodiac approach, and I love this cover so much. So yes, I'm hoping to get to both of these fairly soon. I definitely don't want to be carrying over too many book of the months. As the year progresses, I need to stay up to date on them. Of course, I pre-ordered X's and O's for the X's and O's readathon that's happening in February. I do have an announcement on my channel about that. This is a romance book about a book connoisseur, Tara Chin, who is a stage 5 clinger, and she's trying to find love. Next up is One of Us is Dead by Geneva Rose. I have only read one other book by this author, but I know they have something new coming out this year. This is one that I was borrowing from the library, and I just never got around to it, and I kept returning it. But I recently had Taya, my friend Taya from Taya's Turning Pages, on my podcast, and we were talking about mood reading, and somehow this book came up, and I was like, you know what? I need to give it a shot. I love the way that Taya's reviews just make me want to pick up every single thing that she talks about. But I got this from Pango Books, and literally I don't think the person read this book because the pages are still very, very stiff, and it's just in perfect condition. So definitely check out Pango Books if you're looking for some backlist titles. highly recommend. But this one is about a group of women. It's like kind of housewives drama, and there is a hair cutting place, and the hairdresser knows everybody's secrets because everybody spills when they're in her chair. So you have Shannon, Crystal, Olivia, and Jenny. Who among these women will be clever enough to survive Buckhead, and who will wind up dead? They say that friendships can be complex, but no one said it could ever be this deadly. I met up with some local friends for the very first time. Well, not really the very first time, but it's the first time that I met Amy, and I hung out with Jackie as well. We went to Barnes & Noble on book release day during the New Year New Reads Readathon, and I just had so much fun like hanging out with them and getting to know them a little bit. But we did some book shopping, of course, and I picked up 3 books on that little book shopping trip. I picked up Tiny Nightmares. This is a book that I've had on my radar for a while, but I actually saw it in Barnes & Noble when Jesse came to visit me back in November, and I flipped through it. This is a flash fiction short form fiction book. It has a whole bunch of short flash fiction horror stories. I mean, there's a bunch of them. I mean, they're just like a couple pages. So this is something that I plan to read like over the year, or maybe like, you know, read a couple stories a day or a story a day or something like that. But I'm definitely intrigued. I don't know if I've ever read anything considered like flash fiction before, but I did talk about this on my podcast, and it's been on my radar ever since. Then I saw it in the bookstore, and then I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to give it a go. So it's a short little book. It's, like I said, the stories are very, very short, and it does have some very strange illustrations inside. So I'm looking forward to it, and of course you will hear my thoughts over on Goodreads and the Story Graph, or if you're one of my patrons, I do monthly reading wrap-ups, and I do monthly reading wrap-up live shows, so you might hear about this during that as well. If you ever have any questions about it, shoot me a message on Instagram. Then I picked up Authentically Izzy by Pepper Brasham, and this is a book that we all ended up getting. So Jackie got a copy, Amy got a copy, I got a copy, and it's a new release. It's all told in letter format, so it's an epistolary novel about this woman named Isabel Louise Edgefield, Izzy for short. She lives by the blue tinted mountains where she can find contentment and fresh air and books. Oh, and coffee and tea, of course, and occasionally in being accosted by the love of my family. She dreams of opening a bookstore, but her life, particularly her romantic history, has not been the stuff of fairy tales, which is probably why my pregnant, misled matchmaking cousin, who really is more like my sister, signed me up for an online dating community. So I'm really excited to get to this. I hope I can read this sooner rather than later. And then the last one that I picked up is Locust Lane by Stephen Amadon. This is a thriller mystery that I actually saw promoted in Book Pages, the little magazine that libraries have, and they were talking about anticipated releases, and this was on their like audiobook recommendation or whatever, but this book didn't release until the 17th, but I did actually get it a little bit early. It says, for fans of Mystic River by Dennis Lehane and Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng, Stephen Amadon's Locust Lane is a taut and utterly propulsive story about the search for justice and the fault lines of power and influence in a seemingly idyllic town. Can anyone be trusted? And I absolutely love this cover. It's giving me fall vibes, but again, I'm trying not to let the books that I buy like linger too long throughout the year. So keep an eye on me, friends. All right, then Penguin Random House so kindly, I was not expecting this at all, but they so kindly sent me a finished copy early of How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix. I'm dying. I was flabbergasted when I opened this. I was like, I don't think I'm expecting anything, and I opened it and I was just like, my jaw was literally on the floor. So you guys know I enjoy Grady Hendrix's writing. I love the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. I like My Best Friend's Exorcism. And then I also read The Final Girl Support Group. That wasn't my favorite, but I'm hoping this can be a new favorite. And I was anticipating this last year, and then it got pushed back in release date and stuff like that. But here we are. His take on a haunted house in a thrilling new novel that explores the way your past and your family can haunt you like nothing else. I hope it blends horror and humor, which Grady Hendrix is known for, and I'm just very excited to get to it very soon. Another dark academia novel that kind of came up during my research is The Truance by Kate Weinberg. I love this cover so much, and I also got this secondhand. I actually think it came from a library because it had, like, you could kind of tell it was like, it has the little thing where they probably took that off and stuff, but that's fine. I'm very excited. I got this on Pango. Yeah, and I'm excited to have it in my collection. People disappear when they most want to be seen. Jess Walker has come to a concrete campus under the flat gray skies of East Anglia for one reason: to be taught by the mesmerizing and rebellious Dr. Laura Kay, whose seminars soon transformed Jess's thinking on life, love, and Agatha Christie. So I'm looking forward to reading this and hopefully talking about it on my podcast. And then another book that I picked up, I have a video idea for this book as well. I picked this one up on Pango, but it is a book of the month copy, so I do need to make sure that I read this so it's not lingering on this like huge stack of book of the month books that I have over here. But it is the Cartographers by Ping Shepherd. Ping, I'm not sure how to say the author's name right here, but this is a highly imaginative thriller about a young woman who discovers that a strange map in her deceased father's belongings holds an incredible, deadly secret, one that will lead her on an extraordinary adventure into the truth about her family's dark history. So when I put this on a TBR, you'll have to let me know if you have any ideas what I'm going to be reading this for. But I know some of you are going to see this and be very excited that I got a copy. And then last but not least, I got 3 books from Aardvark Book Club. So these were all January picks. I got All the Dark Places by Terry Parlato, which is a debut thriller novel. And I love discovering new thriller authors. This is about a savage murder that rocks a quiet Boston suburb, revealing the dark secrets at the center of a group of friends in this clever, propulsive debut from the new master of suspense. And then next up, I have The Key to My Heart by Leah Lewis. I've read one other book by Leah Lewis. I don't know if they have any other books other than that, but this is a romance story about a woman that is widowed, and she plays at a public piano in the London train station, and then she starts receiving these mysterious little love notes in the form of sheet music, and the sheet music is songs that were her husband's favorites, and like her finding new love and moving on and all of that. So I think it's going to be emotional and heartwarming and all of the things. And then the very last one from Aardvark is Desert Creatures by Kay Chronister, and I'm not sure how I feel about this cover, but this is an eco horror novel with feminist themes, and it says, with ferocious imagination and poetic precision, Desert Creatures is a haunting story of endurance at the expense of redemption. What compromise does survival require of a woman, and can she ever unlearn the instincts that have kept her alive? So those are the books that I either bought used, new, or received in the month of January. I'm hoping to make vlogs for most, if not all of these in one form or another. If not here on YouTube, then definitely check out my podcast, which is always linked down below. If you want to hear mini reviews of all of the books that I read, definitely check out my Patreon, which is also linked down below. Otherwise, come back towards the end of the month, usually the last Sunday of the month at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I do monthly reading wrap-up live shows with some friends, and it's a lot of fun. So that's another way you can tune in to find out about the books that I read each month. So lots of fun things coming soon, but that's all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're all having a lovely day or night, and I'll see you guys again in another video very soon. Bye, friends.